think it was just a lot for such a small town, and especially it's like one of those things that hits very close to home.
Welcome to the news at 6. I'm Joe Paris. Today, the house where 4 University of Idaho students were brutally stabbed to death last November was demolished. Despite concerns from some of the victims' family members about the house potentially serving as evidence in the murder case, the University of Idaho says that the demolition is necessary to help the community heal from the brutal murders. Our Brenda Rodriguez has been in Moscow since this morning, tracking the entire demolition process and how the community feels there today. And in just a moment, KTVB reporter Hector Mendoza is going to give us some insight about the legal aspect of the house being torn down and if it could have been used as evidence in this murder trial that we're expecting next year. But we'll start with Brenda live up in North Idaho. Brenda joins us from Moscow, where the house on King Road, it stood 12 hours ago. Brenda.
Yeah, well, that house that you mentioned, yeah, it's no longer here, as you can tell right behind me. It's a little hard to see now that it's dark. We're going to show you some video of that here in just a second. But before that, though, you know, it's been a very emotional morning for many students, community members coming out to witness this in person. I want to quickly show you here. We're standing right in front of the makeshift memorial that has been here for the very beginning. But we've noticed that these 3 candles have since been added. A couple flowers have since been added. So really an emotional time. The word that I keep hearing from community members and also students is healing. This is a healing moment for all of them. I want to quickly show you here the video of what it looked like when the house was being demolished here. I want to also give you, just to give you an update here, there's several dump trucks, police, university leaders, and even people from out of state. And although students in attendance expressed sadness seeing the house come down, they were also relieved for it to finally happen. The University of Idaho says that the demo was always a part of their plan when the house was given to them by the previous owners. U of I's executive director of communications, Jody Walker, says the University of Idaho made the decision after receiving a response in written from the prosecutor saying that there was, quote, no further need for the house. Now more than ever, she says that students and community members have expressed their support. And although some people might disagree with this decision, grad student Sarah Lake says it's time.
Personally, I trust our police and our state officers that they got everything that they needed out of it. So I really don't think it needs to stay up till the trial. I think we learned through everything that happened, watching everything from this side, that we have a lot of faith in our police department now.
And a different student told us off camera that there was a committee created of students and faculty members to gauge where students are at. She says that she felt included and a part of the conversation for today's decision. And Joe, we spoke to students, many students really, and they felt the same way. It was pretty similar across the board. And right now they're, shifting over to that healing garden that we keep talking about to honor the victims. As for what's going to happen for this space right behind me, the university says that this is going to be transformed into grass until they can figure out what to do with it.
All right, Brenda Rodriguez reporting for us live tonight in Moscow. Brenda, thank you for your reporting throughout the day. And as you heard her mention, many in the community are viewing this demolition as a way of healing, but families of 2 of the victims have concerns of how the demolition could impact the trial. News Channel 7's Hector Mendoza spoke to a legal expert about whether bringing down that house could impact the trial. Hector.
Well, the Gonzalez and the Coronado family put out a statement urging the Latah County prosecutors and the University of Idaho to stop the demolition of the house where their kids were murdered because they say the house is needed for basic evidentiary purposes.
Correct that the general rule for crime scenes of a complicated nature is that they should be maintained and preserved, usually through trial and sometimes all the way through appeals until the appeals are completed.
The Gonzalez and Coronado families fear without the house, key evidence could be lost.
You never know when some obscure and unique question is going to come up, and sometimes actual reference to the crime scene is important.
But Former Attorney General David Leroy says this case is unique.
During the intervening months, they've removed furniture, they've boarded up the windows, they've done all kinds of things that have effectively significantly altered the structure.
To the point where the house isn't the same as it was at the time of the murders. In the statement put out by the families, they list specific reasons the house should stay standing, including vantage points of their surviving roommates. What could they see? If there's audio evidence, what could you hear standing outside the house? What could you hear inside the house? Leroy says the prosecution and defense can use what they've gathered from the house to answer those questions.
Both the prosecution and the defense have had several months to go back into the house. We have thousands of photographs. We have videos of the structure that will give the lines of sight, the spatial relations, the likely acoustics, et cetera, inside the house. And in this case, the prosecution has advised that the FBI is prepared to construct a model of the house, whether that's virtual or actual physical.
Leroy says even if the defense or the prosecution asked the judge to allow a jury to go back and view the inside or outside of the house, it wouldn't be granted because of alterations like moving the furniture out and boarding up the windows.
There's no possibility that the destruction will damage this trial.
Leroy also says he thinks the university made the right call.
And the last thing any of us need is a singular, horrific example still standing of a crime that we all wish to forget and put behind us.
Leroy says he knows the university is preparing to do some kind of memorial, whether it's a garden or a memorial structure. He says that would be more fitting than the gloomy building that was there. Joe?
All right, Hector Mendoza reporting for us tonight on the 6. Thank you so much, Hector.